Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of the biggest underdog stories in history. How a small, persecuted religious movement did the unthinkable. It took on the Roman Empire and won. This is the story of how Christianity went from a hunted cult to the official religion of the most powerful empire on earth. Let's get into it.
So picture this. You're in the Roman Colosseum. It's the year 107. A Christian leader, a man named Ignatius, is about to be thrown to wild animals. And these are his words. He's not begging for his life. He's actually welcoming this brutal death. For the Romans watching, this made absolutely no sense. It was completely bizarre.
And that's really the question at the heart of all this, isn't it? What could possibly inspire someone to have that much conviction? A belief so powerful that you would willingly, even joyfully, face a gruesome public execution. If we want to understand how this faith conquered Rome, we first have to understand the mindset that fueled it.
All right, first up, thrown to the lions. To really get that conviction, we have to look at the brutal reality these people were up against. And that brings us right back to that man in the Colosseum, Ignatius.
So, this is happening under Emperor Trajan, when Rome is at the absolute peak of its power. And for the Roman state, an execution like this wasn't just an execution, it was theater. It was a spectacle designed to send a crystal-clear, terrifying message to everyone watching. This is what happens when you defy us.
Now here's the thing you've got to understand. For the Romans, this wasn't really a religious disagreement. No, when Christians refused to make sacrifices to the Roman gods, and this is the big one, refused to worship the emperor himself as a divine being, that was seen as a direct attack on the Roman state. It was sedition, it was treason, and the punishment for that, a very, very brutal death.
So why was it treason? Well, it goes way deeper than just politics. We're talking about a head-on collision between two totally different ways of seeing the entire world.
I mean, just look at this breakdown. They could not be more different. Roman religion was all about the public, the political. You worship lots of gods, including the emperor, to show you're a good citizen and to keep the state secure. But Christianity? It was the exact opposite. It was about one God, and it wasn't for the state. It was about your personal salvation, a private journey between you and God.
And this wasn't just some abstract philosophical difference. It had huge, real-world consequences. If you're a Christian, you basically have to check out of public life, right? You're not going to the big pagan festivals. You can't join the army because you'd have to swear oaths to Roman gods. You can't hold public office. You were essentially living in a completely separate, parallel society.
Which brings us to this massive paradox. How on earth does a religion that makes you an outcast, a religion that could get you killed in the most horrific way, how does that not only survive but actually grow like crazy?
Well, the message itself was just incredibly powerful, especially if you were someone Roman society didn't really care about. This wasn't a religion for the elites. It was for everybody. The common person, women, even slaves. It gave them a dignity and a strong sense of community they couldn't find anywhere else. And maybe most important of all, it promised that all the suffering you endured in this life would be rewarded in the next.
And here's the real irony. The very tools that made Rome so mighty became the instruments for spreading this new faith. The Pax Romana, this long period of relative peace, made travel safe. And how did you travel? On the incredible network of Roman roads that crisscrossed the 2 million square mile empire. The empire's own infrastructure became a superhighway for the Christian message.
This brings us right back to Ignatius and the lions in the Colosseum. The Romans thought they were sending a warning. They thought they were stamping out a fire, but they were completely wrong. Their strategy backfired spectacularly. What they thought was a warning was actually an advertisement.
Yeah, this quote just says it all. The Romans couldn't wrap their heads around it. When the crowd saw these martyrs die, not with screams of terror, but with grace and even joy, it didn't scare them. It made them curious. It made them ask, what could someone believe in so strongly that they would face down lions for it? Every martyr became a missionary.
Okay, so this brings us to the final, unbelievable twist in the story. The moment when this religion of the powerless and the persecuted suddenly gets its hands on the ultimate earthly power.
And when the change came, it happened stunningly fast. In 313, Emperor Constantine legalizes Christianity, and just like that, the persecutions stop. But that was only the beginning. Less than 70 years later,
Emperor Theodosius makes Christianity the official state religion, and by 392 he bans all the other old pagan religions. The game had completely changed.
I mean, think about that. In the span of a single human lifetime, the entire power structure of the empire flipped on its head. The religion that was once an enemy of the state was now the state. It's one of the most profound and rapid transformations in all of human history.
So after all that, what's the big takeaway from this incredible story? A story of conquest? Not with swords and armies, but with an idea.
The most crucial point is this: the religion that got its start by defining itself against the Roman state had now merged with it. The faith that offered comfort and meaning to the powerless was now wielding the ultimate power of the empire.
And that leaves us with a final, provocative thought. The triumph of Christianity in Rome reshaped the entire world, but it also fundamentally changed the religion itself. It raises a question that has echoed through the centuries ever since. What happens when a faith built on persecution becomes the authority? What is lost and what is gained?